one-of-a-kind medical experience and a step back in time right here in Indianapolis.
All this week, we're touring treasures in the city. News 8's Hannah Mordeau takes us to the Medical History Museum.
I went back to the 1800s and inside the Indiana Medical History Museum. It's the only pathology facility in the country that's still intact, same as the day it opened. Still, it has plenty of lessons for all of us today.
The hospital itself opened in 1848 as the Indiana Hospital for the Insane, and so this building opened in 1896 as the pathological department.
Walk into the Indiana Medical History Museum and you're greeted with antique equipment, cameras, test tubes, books, and some surprising parts of, let's just say, medical history from more than 100 years ago.
It feels like stepping back in time when you step in here.
It really is a time capsule with the original things.
Sarah Halter is the museum's executive director.
Well, I hope they love it as much as I do. It's a place that's easy to get sucked into. You fall in love with it quickly.
She's an expert about every nook and cranny.
It's part of the building. It's part of the history.
She makes sure it stays that way, giving tours and showed us around.
This is the amphitheater. They did autopsies in this room, but they also did lectures for students.
Sit here and do what back then?
Mortuary students would come here to learn how to embalm bodies.
When it was built, this was only the second science lab studying the physical causes of mental disease in the United States. And now, it's the only one of that era that hasn't been remodeled.
This is the Anatomical Museum. This is one of the spaces that we're most well known for. So the specimens that we have on display here are mostly brains, although not all of them are.
In 2014, they started a project to learn more about the specimens. Now, their stories are some of the only updates you'll see.
We didn't want people to leave without understanding that these were real people and that they led real lives, not always happy ones, and that, we can learn a lot from them and their experiences.
Experiences from the past.
Two of the clinical labs are up here,
including the labs in the library upstairs.
This room is lovely. It has kind of a mad scientist-y feel that I appreciate. So this room is a clinical chemistry lab. This was a clinical lab that supported the hospital.
What does that do?
So this separates particles, and when you spin them for like 40 minutes.
So they would sit there for 40 minutes?
Right, yeah. It takes a lot of time. This is a chemical stain cabinet. These stains were used with the histological slide, so you would stain the tissue so that when you look at it under the microscope, you can actually see.
Oh, that's amazing.
This is the library. I think just about every room we go into, I say this is my favorite room, but the library really is my favorite room because I love all of the books. And it's something that they were very proud of from the beginning. When they opened, they boasted that they had over 500 volumes. Pretty impressive collection.
Telling history and the latest discoveries from long ago, teaching us still today.
We're all affected by mental illness, either directly or indirectly, and even though we've come a long way since this building opened, some would argue we have a long way to go, and I think the history that we present here and that we preserve and interpret is more relevant today than ever.
And fun fact, part of the movie 8 Men Out was actually shot in the building's library. Anyone can take a tour of the museum. You just have to make an appointment first. This was part 4 of my series on touring Indy's treasures. We've made it easy for you to go back and see parts 1, 2, and 3. Just grab your phone right now, scan that QR code. It's up on your screen. It will take you right to the Inside Story page on wishtv.com. Tomorrow, our final story is at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. You won't want to miss it. Hannah Mordeau, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.